Dear God, today is going to be big. The most watched daytime service of the year. Over 6 million worldwide.
If I were the king of the world.
Welcome home, Dr. Gemstone.
Your whole ministry is set up to serve the Gemstones.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Well, I ain't. Praise be to He.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined today by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to review the Righteous Gemstones, the Danny McBride starring, created by, it's a Danny McBride HBO comedy about the Gemstone family, a family of televangelists who are extremely wealthy and influential and kind of live like rock stars. And today's review was actually suggested to us by one of our Patreon members, Dylan Gavin. Now, Dylan, if you don't mind kickstarting this review, we'll get right into it, so the floor is yours.
Hello, Nerd Supers. My name is Dylan, and I'm a Patreon supporter. I'm going to stay out of the way and let the guys handle the details, and just say I really like the character development and all the character work in the show, and I really enjoyed all of the more ancillary characters, such as Edie Patterson as Judy, Tim Baltz as BJ, Tony Cavallero as Keith, and Scott MacArthur as Scotty. I really enjoyed all those characters. I thought that every time, especially that Edie Patterson was on the screen, I really lost it. She was the best part of the show for me. Thanks, guys.
So before we review this, I would like to get your thoughts, Aaron, on Danny McBride. Are you a fan of his as a comedic artist, performer?
Yeah, I am. I think he kind of always plays a similar character, but...
He's good at it. He's good at being Danny McBride.
And his lifetime...
I wish I was good at being Danny McBride. Are you kidding me? I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah, you'd have all that HBO money.
Or Jason Bateman.
Between this, Eastbound and Down, what was the other one? Vice Principals?
Vice Principals, yeah.
I really enjoyed the show. I mean, it was hilarious. I think the cast was all pretty great. I don't know if it's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen, but very funny moments along with, I thought, an interesting story.
With comedy in the modern day, we always say, where are the comedic films anymore? But I think with comedy, it's best if it's a satire, and that's what they're really doing. They're satirizing these TV evangelists who become millionaires, preaching the word of God, these Christians who are, I don't know, you can call them hypocritical, maybe they're not following their teachings, but that's what I really enjoyed, getting the look at this family. You know, you can relate them to Joel Osteen. That's what I thought at first, but I guess Eli Gemstone, played by John Goodman, is kind of taking on that role as a patriarchal figure to his family and also to the public. That's why they've become so rich and famous.
My favorite televangelist is the guy who spit at COVID-19 to get rid of it.
COVID-19!
COVID-19!
It was nice to see him in this role. I think the whole cast, too. I mean, Adam Devine, I don't know what it is about him. He just makes me laugh.
You like him?
No matter what he does. I could see why people don't, but I think from Workaholics and everything he's done since, he always plays a similar role and character.
Well, I think for him and McBride, they're two kind of hit-or-miss comedic guys. I like them both. I think Danny McBride's hilarious, but I've heard a lot of people just, to make like the movie critic pun, he's not going to convert a lot of non-believers with this show. Maybe he will, though, because I was kind of surprised by how well written it was, and he handles some of the writing duties in nearly every episode. Mm-hmm. The first couple, I think, were just written by him, and he directed the first episode. He does have a storytelling sensibility that I think is missing from a lot of comedic series, is that there's something there behind all the dick jokes and the graphic violence.
There are a lot of dongs in this show, too.
A lot of dongs.
Yes.
A lot of dong jokes. You should get tested, bro. Squirt emoji, squirt emoji.
I think one of the funnier parts for me was when Eli Gemstone's announcing his sons to come on, and Danny McBride's character does the jerk-off gesture, and Adam Devine's scooping it up. He's like, I don't care.
Eli Gemstone, him building this empire, it came from a very genuine place.
It's always interesting, too, how, the way they put, the building a family empire and in this world. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, because the actress who plays his wife, Jennifer Nettles, she has that one interlude episode where they go into their backstory. They truly were in love, and they felt that building this would be good for them, good for their family, good for the world. They also, I was wondering if he was going to be this just completely, he's a teddy bear on screen, but behind the scenes he's ruthless. And you see that when he's trying to snatch up all those churches led by Johnny Seasons, that he can be ruthless, that he can be like a Tony Soprano of the pew.
Yeah.
His biggest regret might be spoiling his kids.
Yeah. And Judy was probably my favorite character of the show. She was fucking hilarious.
Judy's got some funny. I love when Eli slaps his two sons in the first episode. She's like, "Slap me too, Daddy. I'm a gemstone." But it comes from a real place. She felt left out.
Yeah, and her fiance BJ was fucking. He delivered the funniest line in the show. I think that made me like die laughing is when he's working at the pharmacy or whatever, and she goes, "It's like I got an edge to me now." And he not so subtly turns to reveal he has an earring. Shit like that fucking... It was very diverse in its comedy, too, because there were a lot of, I think, observational humor, a little, like, dumb comedy when he's trying to hug his son. And it's like, oh, we going in for the hug? Things like that. But a lot of it was... There's a lot of subtle humor as well. When
Kelvin and Keith do the sweep, and they're like, we're going to sweep this whole house, and Keith does a little sweep motion, I lost it. I love Keith. I thought he was probably... you said Judy was your favorite character. I think Keith is probably the breakout character played by Tony Cavallero. He was so funny. And BJ, too.
When he comes out of the house in the middle of the night, and he's Winnie the Pooh in it, and his dick is just hanging out, he was funny, too, how he came from like a group of Satanists. And now he found the light and is following.
Well, Kelvin is, he's obviously, we know how funny Adam Devine can be, but he was, I guess, the purest out of the three siblings.
He's simple.
He's a little stupid.
Doesn't really know about, he's just living in the moment, doesn't really know too much about the outside. He's just, he's having a good time.
I think he does the most good, and he loses his way, and he gets back to it because of Keith. When Keith is going through that satanic ritual, that shit just freaked me out. I don't like him in there. I don't like him in that suit. Put that down. Put that thing down.
Before I forget, another hilarious part too was when he's showing the video and coming clean. His daughters are there and they're like,
Chad.
The mom takes them out. It's like, no, it was just CGI.
That's not me. That's CGI.
But the story itself, with Gideon, I guess, concocting this plan to blackmail his father to get money and just kind of the road that led them down, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't like Gideon at first, but he grew on me towards the end.
No, well, that actor, Skylar Gisondo, he was fantastic in Booksmart. And he plays this...
He wasn't, but that's...
Yeah.
He looks so familiar this whole series.
This very outgoing, preppy high schooler. And then he turns it off at the end of that movie when he gets real serious about his life and what he wants to do. And I thought, wow, he completely transformed just in this scene. But yeah, no, I enjoyed one of the funniest bits in the show to me was when he's fighting Scotty and he keeps doing those martial arts moves unnecessarily. And Scotty's like, stop doing that. Stop. Why'd you jump like that? Scotty was another vicious character. I think the show had good villains with Scotty, kind of more one-dimensional, but I think he portrayed a psychopath.
And Uncle Baby Billy.
Uncle Baby Billy, Walton Goggins.
I love how they call him that.
I love the way he said it, too. He was having the time of his life with this role.
Yeah.
And he looked great doing it. I liked him when he was older. I liked him when he was younger. He is a true villain.
And he makes banger songs with his sister.
Misbehaving. Daddy said don't, but I said I'm gonna misbehaving.
I liked Misbehaving.
That was a fucking
fire. Yeah, no.
jam.
Well, Jennifer Nettles is actually a singer. Doesn't have many acting credits, but yeah. And I thought for somebody who doesn't have that many acting credits, she was really good in the scenes that she got. Her death led this family to kind of fall apart.
I like when Eli is giving them like it's like, you're gonna lead Easter Sunday. You're going to do the song with your uncle, and you're going to do the same thing.
You're going to lead the youth ministry.
It's like, oh, I've been doing that. Like, everyone else is getting new things. I'm still stuck with the old thing.
The blackmailing was funny all around. The money exchange in the first episode was so ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
The We Did It coins.
Mm-hmm.
They're having the meeting about Chad's emails, and the guy, Gregory, I think his name was, brings the We Did It coins. And when he brought them back towards the end of the season, it's like, I want you to throw them as far as you can.
I think Cassidy Freeman, who played Danny McBride's character's wife, I thought she was really good too.
I just marked her down in my notes. I just wrote down Cassidy Freeman.
Yeah.
And I circled it. She's good.
But her, obviously she's living in denial, thinking her husband is just the best person ever and a man sent from God in God's image is this perfect husband. And I think it's when he flips the van and is like, oh, it's just a car prank game I'm playing with my friends. She's like, ah. Yeah,
that scene when he's showing everybody the video is so ridiculous. And even when he tells her, I've suffered the greatest punishment. I've been fired from the church. He's just so funny to me. I think he's always so confident in the way he walks and the way he talks, but he's such a doofus. It's a great combination.
He acts like the coolest person, and just look at it, it's Danny McBride.
It's Danny McBride acting like Han Solo. That's kind of what his bit is.
But in his defense, all he did was do a little coke.
Well, that's what she says, right, to the other wife?
Yeah.
Well, I loved when they were giving Gideon the rundown on how they make their money. And they don't really hone into that too much, criticizing the church and criticizing doing this for a living. But it's kind of there. It's there through their actions, through their opulent lifestyle, that they are being hypocritical. Even with the dad, he maintains that holy lifestyle, but he turns a blind eye to what his children are doing. And they all kind of, they all have to, that's what the show is. It's a reckoning with your past, with your sins. I cried on the final scene.
It was an emotional
I thought that was a
scene.
great, I was like, don't talk.
Yeah.
You brought it home. What a great finale. You know, like I said, it was very emotional. A heartbreaking moment was when John Goodman does kind of disown his children, and Judy says, can I still live in my house? Meaning, are you still going to pay for it? And it's just, he's just so heartbroken in that moment. He is truly an underrated all-time great, because he is an all-time great.
John Goodman?
Look at his filmography, man. That man has had an incredible career. I mean, going from being on one of the biggest sitcoms to being in multiple Best Picture winners, I think. Get him an Oscar, honorary.
I don't know what his biggest role is, because look at The Big Lebowski. That's such a cult classic, and he's such a big part of that movie. And
he's so funny.
Oh, Brother, We're Out to Hell. I mean, there's
Monsters, Inc., Sully.
Monsters, Inc., yeah. Tons.
And like I said, he's in The Artist. He's just John Goodman in The Artist. It's awesome. Danny McBride said he wants this to be the longest running show that he's ever worked on. And I think the attention to character detail in the show was very impressive, that there is something more to explore for the multiple characters in the show. I'd like to see some more backstory with BJ, with Keith, with Kelvin, set them on their own little mini adventures. So I'm kind of anticipating the show coming back.
Yeah, it's a very enjoyable watch. I mean, I knocked it out in one day. It was just, had a lot of good laughs, and the story was intriguing. I was invested more in the story than I thought I would be in the beginning. And that's what a good comedy does. Not only does it give you laughs, but it invests you in the characters and the story.
Oh, guess the video's over. Ended pretty abruptly. Hey guys, Beau Oliver here for one final send-off, and before we go, we would like to thank our very special Patreon members, pledgers, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. You keep the lights on here at the studio, and we want to give a very special thanks to our Patreon member, Dylan Gavin, for suggesting this show. And we actually have a couple of shows that have been suggested by Patreon members that we will be reviewing in the next couple of weeks, and if you're a fan of anime, get excited, because we have Neon Genesis, My Hero Academia, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, not technically an anime, but also Castlevania. And of course, if you want to visit our Patreon page and pledge, see the different rewards that we have, maybe you can suggest a show, a movie, a video game, or maybe you don't want to do any of that. Honestly, watching up until this point of the video is good enough for me. So, thank you out there, and stay safe.